Damage versus damage counters. They're kind of the same, but they're very different. I know that's weird to say. That is going to be the discussion here on Jank Play TCG today. My name is Landon, and here we play Jank. So, I kind of want to clear things up. See, Pokemon deal damage to each other, and they try to have that damage add up to be at least their opponent's Pokemon's HP or higher. And that will knock out the opponent's Pokemon, right? And we use damage counters as sort of a tool to represent that damage on each other's Pokemon. So we can see how much damage is on the Pokemon, how close they are to being knocked out, and how close one player is to getting a prize card, which will lead to victory, hopefully. But there's another side to damage counters, because there's Pokemon that just place damage counters directly onto the field. They're not actually doing damage. Isn't that weird? The Pokemon's not doing damage. It's just placing this tool that we use to keep track of damage. Just saying place that on the Pokemon without doing damage. So here, let's switch over to the game. And I can pull up some examples. First example, Aegislash V. Just because it's early in the A's and it's a nice fancy card. 50 damage. 2 energy slash 50 damage. Pretty simple, right? That means you put 5 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. Each damage counter is 10 damage. That's what it represents. It is a mechanic, a tool of the game to show this effect, right? Sonic Edge, 3 energy and 130 damage, plus some other stuff that doesn't matter. 130 damage. Place 13 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. That represents 130 damage. Easy stuff to understand. Let's jump to Manaphy. Very popular card. Played in just about every deck. I usually cut it from a lot of my janky decks, but a lot of people hold on to it just in case they run into a situation. It's a 1-card tech, so it's pretty easy to play. Ability, Wave Veil. Prevent all damage done to your benched Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. Again, dealing with damage. Perfect. So if an opposing Pokemon would deal damage to your benched Pokemon and you have Manaphy out, those benched Pokemon do not take damage. Not damage counters, just damage. So to get an example of that, I like to look at Urshifu. Urshifu V Max Rapid Strike, of course, with the G Max Rapid Flow. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Absolutely fantastic of an attack. Kind of ruled the format for a little while there. Dealing 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Well, if they have Manaphy out and you pick 2 benched Pokemon, it does 0 damage because Manaphy blocks the damage being done to benched Pokemon. But not damage counters, even though damage counters represent damage. Okay. Let's look at Sableye. Sableye. Very popular card. This one is played in a lot of Lost Box decks. If there's a Lost Box deck out there, they're probably playing Sableye. Sableye. For a single Psychic Energy, Lost Mine. You can only use this attack if you have 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone. Put 12 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. That's not damage. That's damage counters. But damage counters represent damage. So does Sableye do damage to your opponent's Pokemon? According to the game, it does not. It does not deal any damage. It just has an effect where you put damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, not damage. So Sableye gets around Manaphy. Manaphy does not block Sableye's Lost Mine attack. And that is why Lost Box is so popular. People get that Manaphy down. Alright, my bench Pokemon are protected. Sableye comes out. It can even just throw 7 damage counters on a Manaphy, get an easy prize, and still have, what is that, 5 damage counters left over. Dealing 50 damage to another Pokemon. Okay. Let's look at Big Parasol. Big Parasol, as long as the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to all of your Pokemon. Awesome. Great card. It is seeing play now because of Sableye. This came out way before Sableye, but now it's seeing play because of Sableye. And it's a fantastic card. It blocks effects of attacks. So remember Aegislash? Pokemon. Aegislash. Slash, 50 damage. It's got that big 50 number there, right? It's pretty, we all understand what this means. 2 energy, name of attack, damage. Although I guess for you, it's kind of flipped. So it'd be energy, name of attack, damage. Whatever. Camera, from my perspective, from your perspective, whatever. Okay, so we understand how an attack is laid out on a card. Let's go back to Urshifu. Yeah. Sometimes I forget how to spell. Urshifu. G-Max Rapid Flow. 3 energy, no big number. So does it do damage? Well, it has an effect that does damage. So why doesn't Big Parasol block the effect that does damage? It blocks the effect from Sableye that does damage. This is weird, right? Am I the only one that thinks this is weird? Maybe this video will get like only 2 views and the comments will be like, you're stupid. Okay. Harsh. Kind of rude. But okay. Maybe I'm just the only one that, finds damage counters, which we use to track damage, is different than damage, which is represented by damage counters. They're the same thing, but they are different. They are so different that particular cards are designed and made to work against one side, but not the other. But they both end in the same freaking thing. Damage on the opponent Pokemon. Or on your Pokemon if you're the one being attacked. Whatever. I feel like I'm on such a rant. I don't know where else to go with this. I just want to go back to Sableye, because I think that art is awesome. It's chewing some gems there. And Lost Mine is seriously a fantastic attack. It uses this whole concept of damage versus damage counters to be very sneaky in the game. And it's not the only Pokemon that does this. If we go back all the way to Sword and Shield base set with Zigzagoon, when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. That also gets around any damage prevention. If we look at... Miltank. Oh, I guess that's not enough. There we go. Miltank. With the Miracle Body ability, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon V. That is a fantastic ability. Miltank saw a ton of play because of that ability, and it will block a lot of damage. Dragonpult V Max, hugely popular back in Rebel Clash days. 2 energy, max phantom, 130 damage. But it has the effect, put 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. So Miltank will block the 130 damage if it's in the active. If it's on the bench, it can still take the 5 damage counters from the Max Phantom effect. And even Manaphy can't block it. why are these two things so different but represented by the same thing, damage counters? Damage and damage counters are both represented by damage counters. I don't know what to tell you. I just think it's important to discuss the difference here, because I know back when I was getting back into the TCG, I played at base set, but who really knew how to play when we were that young? I know, it's hard to believe I was young once. I know mostly it's not kids watching this video. We were all young once, way before, many decades ago. But I got back into the game in the beginning of the Sun and Moon era. You know, so I was dealing with EXs, but GXs were the new hotness. And when I first discovered this difference between damage and damage counters, my head blew. Like, it was so stupid. In my opinion, this is one of the clunkier aspects of the TCG that the TCG forces into so many situations. It's fascinating to me, and I don't know if I can say much more than that about the subject. It's just, it fascinates me. The more I think about it, the more I go down this well of, is this good game design? I don't know. Frankly, I don't know if this is good. If you have damage being represented by damage counters, and damage counters that represent damage, but you have attacks that do damage, and you have effects that place damage counters, but then you have effects that deal damage, but that's just considered damage and not damage counters, even though they're still effects, and it's not an effect because you're dealing I'm repeating myself endlessly. I hope this was slightly entertaining and slightly educational for you. I don't know how much clearer I can be. I've tried recording this so many times, and I'm just, this is it. This is what we're going with. Hopefully it was fun. If you made it this far, let me know. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. You know, I put out daily Pokemon TCG videos, so, you know, some people are enjoying it. In fact, I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers. Once I hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to make a Discord channel for everyone to come and discuss Pokemon things, which I think might be fun. And also, you can let me know of any TCGs that you want me to try out, sort of thing. But, yeah, if you made it this far, if you actually watched the entirety of the video, I would love it if you put in the comments maybe how you understand the difference between damage and damage counters, or maybe when you first discovered the difference. Does this make sense to you? Am I just crazy? Does everyone else understand that damage and damage counters are two separate things and all that? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear. And of course, until next time, keep playing Jank.